Hey everybody, this is J-Mac and welcome to Bigfoot Input, where we value your input on Bigfoot. Welcome to the second episode of Bigfoot and Booze, and today we're going to be telling a story straight out of my own backyard. In the spirit of a sighting of the Central Florida SkunkApe, we're going to be drinking SkunkApe Double IPA. This is a Florida Beer Company beer, 10% alcohol. It's a little intimidating, but we're gonna crack that open and we're gonna give it a try right now. Wow, that is a skunky IPA. I mean, really, really dank. So, whew, if that's your thing, which, I mean, I don't hate it. Yeah, you gotta really love IPAs though to get into this one. But it's good. All right, we're gonna dive right in. This story comes from the BFRO, or Bigfoot Researchers Organization website. You can narrow it down to Florida, Lake County, and this story comes out of Lake Mac, although it's actually a subdivision called Deer Haven, further past Lake Mac. But anyway, the encounter is very lengthy with lots of detail, so it's a great read. But I'm going to be giving you the abridged version, but I encourage you to go read it yourself. It's fascinating. So let's get into it. The gentleman starts out by saying, "I have never told this story to anyone other than one person. I was encouraged to write this in the hopes of putting this behind me. I didn't ask for this. I was perfectly fine with my skewed version of reality." He goes on to tell you the specific date, time, and location that he visited Lake Mac, Florida, which he mentions hugs the southern part of the Ocala National Forest. And during the week, he's an executive of a multi-million-dollar company, but loves to decompress in the outdoors. He was going to use this opportunity while visiting his friends to do some hiking in the rural areas around Lake Mac. So he finished up at his friend's house around noon and headed to Deer Haven, which he had previously chosen as the spot he wanted to explore. He says that he drove 2 to 3 miles on paved road before he hit dirt, and then another 3 miles until the road turned into a one-lane bumpy dirt trail. He says that his car was handling it well enough to be comfortable, so he kept going. Listen, as a Floridian, I'm telling you, this is a common mistake in Florida. People think their cars are going to be okay driving through these little dirt paths, and they underestimate the white sugar sand. They're gonna bottom out your car very easily, and that's exactly what happened to this guy. I think his distance is a little skewed, but I've mapped out where he went on Google Maps, and I think I have an approximate location where this happened. The investigator that followed up on the story said that he was near a creek. He said there was a creek nearby, and if you look at where he would have potentially been, less than 3/4 of a mile away, there's a creek ironically called Get Out Creek. You can't make that up. So he tries to turn his car around because he starts feeling uncomfortable about the road that he's on. But unfortunately, he waited too long and went too far, and now he's stranded. The car gets stuck. He's in a very remote part of Florida by himself with no cell phone service. So, as anyone would have, his first instinct is to try to dig out the car, slam on the gas, put it in reverse, spew a lot of sand around, but ultimately you're stuck. So then you get out and try to dig out the car. You put things under the tires, whatever you can do to get yourself out of the situation. And all he ends up doing is getting frustrated. So he stands up to survey the situation, and the situation gets a lot worse. He gets pegged in the leg very painfully by a rock. He knows it's a rock because the rock landed on the hood of his car. He was actually a little relieved it wasn't a bullet or a snake bite. Hogs,
but
squirrels,
at this point he
maybe
asked
even
himself,
an alligator.
what animals
But
am
as
I
far as he
surrounded by
knows,
out here?
none of them can throw rocks.
Well, the answer is bear.
So it must be
deer,
a couple people having some fun at his expense, right? He calls out, "This isn't funny. My car is stuck. I need some help, please." Crickets. So now he's fearful. What's in that tree line? So he pops his trunk and unzips his bag and grabs a can of bear mace. He slams the trunk shut, and as he does, he hears a hiss. He described it as if you had cornered a huge feral cat. Hearing this put him in flight mode, so he jumped in the car with his bear spray and slammed the door. At this point, the creature slowly stood up. Its head was obscured by the tree branches, and its lower half was obscured by palmettos. It walked parallel to the road, away from me. To say the least, I was completely petrified. I was locked in my car, but absolutely did not feel safe at all. I would estimate that the creature was about 8 foot tall. It was extremely bulky across the chest, with very muscular arms, and I have no doubt that it could have easily busted out the windows and ripped me to shreds if it so desired. He goes on in great detail what he could see of the creature once it emerged from the tree line, including being soaking wet. It was obvious to me that the creature had previously responded to the slamming of the car trunk. Not knowing what else to do, I laid down on the horn and started opening and slamming shut the driver's side door, hoping that such nuisance noise would drive it out of the area. It did in fact evoke a response, but not the one I was hoping for. After about 15 seconds of door slamming and horn honking, the creature lumbered slowly on all fours in sort of a crouched position from behind the tree onto the side of the road, right along the tree line. I quickly slammed the door shut. As soon as the door slammed, the creature reared back and flung a softball-sized amount of slimy, brown, lumpy material that was about the consistency and color. It slid down the hood onto the sand all over in front of the car, leaving a wet residue on the hood. He goes into great detail here about the creature walking across the road and coming back with a juvenile. Basically, it was carrying the smaller creature in the same way that a human would carry a child on the hip. It did not reemerge from that point forward, nor did I see any sign of it again. I would estimate that the smaller creature was about 3 foot tall. It was also a different color than the adult, with the child being more of a light brown with possibly some hints of red and blonde versus the black and gray color of the adult. I sat petrified in my car for about an hour until I looked up and saw 2 hunters driving jeeps down the road towards me. They were kind enough to pull out my car and quickly got me on my way out of the forest. Once I got on Highway 44, I left the area at about 85 miles per hour and never looked back. I was in a state of complete shock over what I had experienced. Prior to this experience, I was not a Bigfoot believer. Oh, how wrong I was. The BFRO investigator would give some notes after his investigation, saying that he found the spot where the man's car was stuck and a spring that boiled up into a small creek just 30 yards from the road. This would explain why the creature was all wet. All right, that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please, like, subscribe, follow, notification, do all those things that help a channel grow, and we really appreciate it. We will be coming out with another reaction video really soon, some more pictures for you guys. So this is J-Mac from Bigfoot Input. Keep squatching.